Hi, everybody, and welcome to Fitness Unbroken. Today's question is a really important one. How young can a lifter be before they get into it? I think it really has a lot depend on the athlete maturity of them. Great question, by the way. Um, so, number one, a lot of people may not agree with me on some of the things I have to say on this topic, but a lot of parents will put their kids in gymnastics and not think anything of it at a very, very young age. It's very ballistic, moving. It's great to get in shape as well, of course, but they're very timid when it comes to getting them involved in some kind of a lifting program. Now, I'm not saying at the age of 4 or 5 throw a lifter in there, but to teach that lifter at any age, I don't care if it's 10, 11, 12, or 40 years old, I think you need to have correct movement patterns before you put any weight on anyone at all. So if you were to have a younger lifter, say at the age of 12, again, make sure that everything's good with their doctor. There's no genetic issues or no structural issues that are underlying, and get them to work on easy movements first, primal pattern movements. What I mean by that is things like make sure they can do body weight squats correctly, get them to do a push-up correctly, lunge, make sure they can push an object, pull an object, just things that we're designed as humans to actually be able to do. And then as they can do that with more and more ease, then get them involved in a structured lifting program. Now, form is never, ever sacrificed, especially in a younger lifter, and things need to be taken into consideration as well. Um, the growth patterns of kids are all different. So if a kid one day says, you know what, my shoulders or my knees or this is sore, then you need to change that program accordingly. And it really does need to be a monitored program, not just throw your kid into any program that just is going to get them moving with a bar or quick dynamic movements that are explosive with the bar when they can barely do anything correctly to make sure that structure is there for them. A good example of that is seeing a kid squat. A lot of times you see their legs kind of buckle in or push out, or they kind of move all over the place when they get into a squat. Well, obviously, if anyone, especially a kid, if they can't do just that movement, you're not going to put a weight into their hand too. Just doesn't make sense. So for that, for your kid to be able to put them into a lifting program, make sure that they have the patterns first that they can move with, like I mentioned before, like the squat, the lunge, push up, push, pull, that sort of thing. There's a lot of great programs out there. Some really need, I think, to be able to tweak that a little bit. And there's also a lot of good trainers that just focus a lot on kids as well. So if you are choosing something that for your kids, make sure they have experience with kids and it's not just throwing your kid to someone that's never been able to have a kid into one of their programs. So really important, make sure that number one, that program is monitored and to make sure that your kid can actually move correctly first. And this goes for anyone, not just kids. Uh, I've seen, of course, being in the business as long as I have, you see a lot of crazy stuff. And to see people like at any age really moving really, really piss poorly under load, you really try to do your best to try to, as a trainer, try to get them to move correctly. And of course, some people just won't ever listen. But hopefully you can get through to a few people, especially younger generation. It's super important to make sure they're moving correctly. I really hope that answers your questions. Guys, keep them coming in. It's been awesome. A lot of great questions, and we'll be getting to them always as soon as we can. Keep them coming in. Keep asking. It's all for you guys.